You ever wake up to the sound of a diesel engine chewing up your land? Because I did, at 6:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. My cows scattered like someone rang the dinner bell for wolves. I ran out of the house in boots and a bathrobe, only to see construction crews paving a road, straight through my pasture. The kicker? It wasn't the county or some new highway project. It was the homeowners association from the development 2 miles down the hill. They decided my land made a better shortcut for their neighborhood. I told them to stop. They didn't. I put up a gate. They tore it down. But when I blocked the road with a line of hay bales and parked my tractor on it, they sued me. That's right. I got hit with a lawsuit for impeding community infrastructure. At first, I thought it was a joke, but the court summons was real and it had teeth. Here's the part they didn't see coming. I wasn't just a rancher with a bad attitude and a bathrobe. I had a background in land use law. And this HOA, they just bulldozed their way into the wrong chess match. Stick around, because this gets wilder than a steer on caffeine. What they did next almost made me lose everything. Almost. I own 87 acres of high prairie land outside of Elkhorn Ridge, Wyoming. It's been in my family since my granddad homesteaded it in 1924. Over the years, the landscape around us changed. Developers crept in, turning pastures into pastel-colored subdivisions with names like Whispering Pines and Cedar Hollow. The latest of these was Crystal Creek Estates, a gated community that popped up 2 years ago. Cookie-cutter homes with HOA rules longer than the U.S. Constitution. They paved cul-de-sacs, planted artificial turf, and installed cameras that tracked everything but common sense. I never had much interaction with them, apart from the occasional drone flying over my pasture. Annoying, but manageable. That changed when I noticed surveyor flags along my eastern fence line one morning. A few days later, I saw tire tracks. Then one Thursday afternoon, a man in khakis and a name badge reading Greg HOA, infrastructure chair, knocked on my door. Hi there. Just informing you, we'll be doing a little road work along the ridge next week. Should be minimally invasive. On my property? Oh, I believe the easement paperwork is in order. Your parcel might be involved, but it's all above board. I told Greg to get off my porch before I called the sheriff. He smiled, said, "No need for hostility," and walked away like he'd just dropped off a package. 3 days later, the bulldozers showed up. No permit, no letter, no legal claim I could find. Just pure HOA entitlement. They started carving a single-lane road through the southeastern corner of my land, where my livestock grazed. They posted signs calling it Crystal Creek Connector. It wasn't just a violation of property. It was a desecration. My grandfather's old corral was in pieces. They even flattened a patch where my father and I had planted junipers as a memorial. I called the sheriff. He shrugged, said it was a civil matter. I hired a lawyer. He found the HOA had filed a claim of implied easement in some obscure county filing, weeks after they started construction. It was all smoke and mirrors, but they knew most ranchers didn't have time to fight in court. I did. I started with polite calls, then emails, then I put up a locked gate. 2 days later, the gate was gone, replaced by an HOA sign that read, "Access road, do not block." So I escalated. I blocked it with hay bales, then parked my tractor across it. I left a note that read, "Private land, turn around." 3 days after that, a manila envelope showed up. Crystal Creek Estates via Robert A. Tiller. They were suing me for obstructing an easement and causing inconvenience to community members. That was just the beginning. They didn't just sue me. They started a smear campaign. Crystal Creek's HOA newsletter labeled me a belligerent landowner impeding community safety. They claimed the road was necessary for emergency access. Funny how their emergency just happened to align with their residents not wanting to drive the extra mile around the canyon. Then came the fines. They issued me daily penalties. Yes, them. Not a court, for every day I obstructed their road. The total hit $14,000 by the second month. Their residents began showing up at my gate, yelling. One even threw a cup of coffee at my barn cat. They hired private security to monitor my property line. A guy in sunglasses sat in a golf cart for hours on end, documenting my movements like I was El Chapo. Then my mailbox got blown up. No proof it was them, but the timing wasn't exactly subtle. I started getting calls from an HOA lawyer named Martha Wynn. Her tone was always polite. In that way, someone talks to you while holding a knife behind their back. Let's be reasonable. Mr. Tiller, drop the protest and we can discuss a settlement. I declined. Meanwhile, I documented everything. Drones, I filmed them. Security guys, photos. Bulldozer tracks, GPS coordinates. But the worst was when they tried to claim I damaged their construction. They submitted a video of me moving hay bales, which I filmed myself, since I was setting them up. They spliced the footage and presented it as sabotage. I almost laughed in court. Almost, but I saw the judge frown. These people had resources, influence, and they were used to getting their way. So I stopped reacting emotionally and started planning strategically. I wasn't just going to fight back. I was going to end the HOA's delusion of power brick by brick. My first move? I filed for a temporary injunction to halt all construction. The motion included drone footage survey maps and a notarized statement from a local historian confirming my property line, dated back nearly 100 years with 0 recorded easements. Next, I went public. I sent my story to local newspapers, then posted a video on YouTube titled, "How an HOA Tried to Steal My Ranch." It showed the road, the damage, and the harassment. I didn't name names, but I didn't have to. The video got traction. Comments poured in. Local TV stations called. Suddenly, Crystal Creek wasn't the picture-perfect utopia. They were the villain. Next came the audit. I had a friend who used to work in municipal zoning. With her help, we found that Crystal Creek had built 3 illegal retention walls and improperly filed HOA fee statements with the county. I filed a formal complaint with the zoning board. Then I placed my own signs at the road entrance. Private property. Trespassers will be cow-tipped. And just for good measure, I hosted a weekend fundraiser BBQ right across the disputed road. Dozens of ranchers showed up. So did local press. When HOA reps came and threatened to call the police, the sheriff, who happened to be enjoying a brisket sandwich at the time, told them to get off my land. That's when the HOA president finally cracked. A letter arrived offering to settle, but I wasn't done yet. Court date arrived on a cloudy Thursday. Greg from infrastructure wore a salmon shirt and a fake smile. Martha the lawyer had binders stacked like she was defending a Fortune 500 company. I brought a single folder. Inside, a historical deed, a notarized land survey, drone footage, photos of destroyed corral, a sworn statement from the former county surveyor. Their case unraveled faster than a discount hay bale. My lawyer calmly walked the judge through the timeline. Every forged easement, every harassment tactic, every piece of property damage. Then we played the HOA's own video. The judge blinked as he saw how obviously it had been edited. He looked over his glasses and asked, "Ms. Wynn, are you seriously submitting this as evidence of vandalism?" She stammered. Greg fidgeted. Then came the ruling. The HOA had no valid easement. They were ordered to pay for all repairs, remove the road, issue a formal apology, and cover my legal fees. The judge even added a personal note. "Mr. Tiller, your patience is commendable." As we walked out, I turned to Greg and said, "Next time you want to visit my ranch, try knocking first. The road is gone. The pasture's healing. The cows are calmer. Crystal Creek? They're down a few board members. HOA meetings now include a public comment session, by court order. People started waving at me again. Even the drone guy mailed me a fruit basket. The whole ordeal taught me something. Just because someone speaks with confidence doesn't mean they have a claim. And sometimes the quiet rancher knows more law than the loudest lawyer. If you take anything from this story, let it be this. Bullies build roads, but justice reroutes traffic. What would you have done in my boots? Comment below if you've ever dealt with an HOA nightmare. And if you stuck with me to the end, type "justice served" so I know you're part of the herd. Thanks for watching. I'm Bob Tiller signing off. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a fence to rebuild and a cat that still doesn't trust coffee cups. See y'all next time.